All right, well, I'll clear me throat.
Good morning, LinkedIn. Hope you're all well. I'm Mel from the Sussex Social. I'm a social media coach and consultant, and I work with busy business owners to help them get clear on their messaging and navigate the murky waters of social media. And I'm joined this morning by the lovely Helen Beckingham to talk about writing more effective copy for your business. So I will let Helen briefly introduce herself before we get started. Good morning, Tracy. Tracy's joined us. Good morning. So we are actually live.
Oh, great. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thank you, Mel. I'm very excited to do this. This is my first ever LinkedIn Live. I'm Helen Beckingham, and I run a company called Keyword Copywriting, and I've been doing that since 2011. I have written content for literally, hundreds and hundreds of websites. I tried to count up the amount of blogs I'd written last year, and I lost count at about 650. I write people's case studies. I write their LinkedIn profiles sometimes, actually. What I really love doing is website content because I'm an SEO copywriter.
Cool. So I think that leads. I just want to say, if anybody's got any questions, do type them in the comments. Then we will try our best to answer them at the end, and if not, we will get back to you. So I think we will probably want to start with one of our questions, really, Helen. What is SEO and why is it important?
Starting with the biggest question in the world. It's a huge subject, SEO. Search engine optimization is a way of getting your website more visible to the people, your potential clients, people who need your services. Because as I speak right now, I can guarantee you that there are hundreds worldwide, if not thousands of people typing your products or services into the search engine. And SEO helps your website come up on the results pages above other people who haven't bothered to do it. People have it has a really bad rap, actually. It has a really bad rap because there's a lot of SEO people out there that charge a fortune and you never really quite know what they're doing. There are 200, I don't want to depress you or anything, but there are 200, at the last count, there are 200 different ranking factors. Ranking factors are the things that the Google robots look at in order to work out where to put your site on amongst the other thousands of people that also do the same thing. You can do things yourself to really improve it. You're pleasing. I'm not going to go on about this forever because you may lose the will to live, and I don't want to nod off or anything. But you're pleasing two very separate entities with SEO, not necessarily in this order. The Google robots, they're robots, and the human being. Yeah. Google's robots are the people that decide where to put your site, as I said. They are incredibly clever. They're also actually rather stupid because they're robots, and they need really clear signals in order to work out what your website is about, what your business is about. And you can do things. You can work out what people are actually searching for through keyword research. You can just ask people. You can ask your clients what they would search for. You don't have to download a tool, although there are some very cheap ones out there for doing that. You need to find out what people are actually searching for and then separate all your services out, because you do several different things in the course of running your business. It could be anything. If you're a graphic designer, for example, don't just try and think, okay, I'll put graphic designer somewhere on my website. Think about all the different things you do. You probably do logo design, you do brochure design, you do design for people's banners, and you have a separate page for each of those things. Yeah. So that when people are looking for logo design, they land on that page on your website. I can't go in right now into how you do all that. It's fiddly, but it's not actually that difficult. It's just fiddly. It's whether you can be bothered to go around the back end of your website and make a few tweaks and just. The one thing I would say when I said about those two entities, the Google robots, humans. People on the internet have the attention span of a gnat, and I'm going to be talking about this all the way through this talk. You can't underestimate that fact. They have no attention span whatsoever. SEO, if you think about it, you put something into a search engine, say graphic designer, you need a graphic designer. You go onto that website, the first thing you need to see on that website is that you're in the right place to get what you need. So graphic designer has to be right up there. That helps the robots. It mostly helps the human being who has the attention span of a gnat. They can see straight away that they're in the right place for what they need. You then put that word graphic designer or logo designer in the first sentence of your content, so that you're not hiding it away for the impatient human to have to scroll down because they just won't do it. They'll go somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's a really, really thumbnail sketch.
No, I think that is. We've been joined by John Esperian, who's another copywriter and also a total LinkedIn guru.
Oh, great. Okay.
On his comment, because he said it's rare to see a LinkedIn live about copywriting, and I think that's quite an interesting point, Helen. Because I was really hoping to find a copywriter who would come and talk about it, because I think.
Oh, that's great. Actually, I'm very glad to be here. I love talking about it. I think the problem.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm married to a developer, and there's absolutely no way that he would go online and talk about what he does. Anyway, we digress. So we just kind of on to our next point, really. One of the questions, and you said this to me last week, is what is the most powerful word that you can use in your copywriting?
Well, there is one. It's only one word. The copywriter who's right now on LinkedIn Live will know exactly what this word is. It's the word you.
Yeah.
The one thing you can do actually after this broadcast, what are we doing here, is to go onto your website and count the amount of times you use we, our, me, I, compared to the amount of times you use the word you. Because if the we's outnumber the you's, you are, forgive me, weeing on your website. The word you has several advantages. The main one is that if you use the word you, the website content, you're forced to think from the point of view of the person reading it, because that is the most important thing you need to be doing on your website, is getting into the head of the person who's actually reading the content. Because really good copy is not about the writer, it's all about the reader. And the question that they are asking themselves when they're on a website is a classic marketing question: what's in it for me? Anyone in marketing will know that, what's in it for me? I have above my desk right here, I have a big piece of paper which says who cares? Because actually, if you go onto your website after this thing and look at every sentence you write and think about who cares? Who cares? Why should the reader be interested in that? What's in it for them? Yes, I mean, even your about page, yes, you've got decades of experience of doing something. You've been doing it forever. Who cares? What's the benefit of that for the person reading it? Well, there could be all sorts of benefits. I mean, they're coming to you with a problem. Because you've been in business for a long time, you will almost certainly have seen that problem before. You'll know exactly how to solve it. You'll be able to solve that problem faster than your competitor because you've seen it so many times, you know exactly what to do. That's the kind of example of where we have decades of experience. We have been in business since, well, who cares? Actually, to the reader, they care because it means that you can absolutely solve their problem. You're not going to waste their time doing it. Mm-hmm. So you does that. It's also very engaging because, of course, for the reader, it's all about them, and they immediately think, "Oh God, it's all about me."
I think that's a really important point that I just want to make, and it's exactly the same when you're writing content for social media. Like it all goes down to what does my reader care? What do they care about? What's in it for them?
Yeah.
Because like you said, people have got the attention span of a gnat. We're completely bombarded with content. I think every time you log into Google, you can see up to 20,000 pieces of content at once. Hence why SEO and algorithm exist. But so it's always really just thinking about, like as you said, who cares, so what, and what's in it for your reader.
Yeah.
I also think and we'll talk about people writing their own copy in a minute. For me, when a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't want to appear boastful or narcissistic" when they're talking about a business, then I think the you can really help you, as in the writer, with your writing, because suddenly it kind of moves it away from being about you as the person who's selling that service to actually putting yourself in your client's shoes. And I think sometimes that can make it easier to write.
Yes, it can. I mean, it actually takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
Because you're no longer writing about you. You're thinking, okay, what does this mean to the person reading it? And it does force you, that word you, it really does force you to start thinking from it. You turn it around 180 degrees. and you stick yourself in the position of the person reading it, it really does take the pressure off, because you're no longer thinking, oh, this is all about me. I mean, it isn't about you. It shouldn't be about you. It should be about the reader, not the writer. It's about, I mean, you really have to, the word you also helps you kind of tap into the emotional triggers of the person reading it as well. Because you've got to remember, actually, it's something very easy to forget, actually, certainly when you're right inside a business and you're working really hard at it. You're not actually selling a service. On your website content, you're not selling a service. You're not selling a product. You're not even selling the benefits of that product. You know, it could be saving somebody time, it could be saving somebody money, although it's actually very important that you talk about the benefits, which is the what's in it for me. It's actually deeper than that. You can go deeper than that. This is what copywriters do. I do it every day when I'm writing website content. You're tapping into the emotional triggers, because what you're selling is somebody's better future. So how do they feel now? What's this problem that they've got? How's it making them feel? What's it stopping them from doing? Yeah. How are they going to feel once you've provided this service or this product? We don't vary that much when it comes to those kind of below the surface desires. You know, we want more time, we want more money, we want more leisure time, we want better health, we want to be better parents. We want to have a feeling of achievement. We want to express our personalities. We all have very similar below the surface desires. We're not that imaginative when it comes to aspirations. We're all much the same, really. And if you really kind of tap into that, that's when your content starts becoming really persuasive, because people can imagine themselves in a better future with this problem gone out of the way. What can they do? How will they be? How will they feel as a result of that?
Yeah.
Oh, I went all psychological there.
No, I think that's funny. It's kind of saying, going back to that, what's the transformation?
Yes.
And I think quite often for people, they have to do a little bit of background work and some digging around their services and what's the actual outcome for people, rather than you just thinking, oh, this is great and I really like doing it, because actually, not
our passion, our mission. Oh, I'm sorry, guys, all of you out there who've got our mission. It really doesn't really care about your mission. Our clients, people put our clients on the website. Well, think about it. Our clients say that we do this. The person reading your website is your potential client. If you write our clients, it's no longer about them. It's not about them at all, because they're thinking, oh, their clients, that's not me, that's someone else. You're automatically holding them at arm's length. If you've got our clients anywhere in your website, take it out. Just put you instead. It's much, much more powerful.
Okay,
I'm
writing this down. God, again. I don't think mine does need improvement, but I don't think it's that bad. Anyway, we've obviously talked a bit about the psychology behind this and SEO, and I think so. Do you want to share some of your tips for writing better copy?
Practical things, yes, absolutely. These are some really practical things, that you can probably do right now. Actually, well, not right now, obviously, because you want to be watching this, but your sentence lengths. This is a really practical thing. Try not 20 words is really the maximum that you're looking for a sentence length. That doesn't mean that it's set in stone. You can go over. And it also doesn't mean that all your sentences should be 20 words long, because it's all about creating rhythm. The 20-word thing is a good guide, because when we read, we do something called sub-vocalizing, which is a kind of posh, unnecessarily complex way of saying we read it in our heads. We speak it in our heads. We all do this, when we're reading something, we speak it in our heads. If you keep writing sentences which are more than 20 words, your reader is literally going to run out of breath. You have to put breathing. It's about adding breathing space. So you can do that with a comma. You can do it with an em dash, the longer dash that you can use. You can do it with the ellipses, which are those 3 little dots that you get. Copywriters do this all the time, probably slightly too much. You can always tell when a copywriter's been on copy, because you see these 3 dots. They're a really useful tool, as long as they're not overused. Particularly useful in headings, actually, I find, because they draw the eye. They make content look sort of interesting somehow. Paragraph lengths is the other one. If you present your reader with a wall of text, which is a block paragraph, they will not read a single word. Paragraph lengths should be 2-3 lines long, maximum 4 lines, really, because it looks too unfriendly. They haven't got any breathing space at all. And actually on a mobile phone, even a 4-line paragraph is quite long. So do be aware of your paragraph lengths.
Yeah.
What else can I say about copy? But I was going to talk. Shall I talk about reading it aloud now? Is it a good time to bring this up, or shall I talk about that later when we talk about it?
I think it's completely up to you.
I always read things aloud. I mean, you do feel like a complete plonker. If you read it aloud, you can tell whether it sounds like you're trying to sound like it's you speaking. Yeah. That means you're probably breaking the rules of grammar every now and again. You're starting sentences with and. Every now and again, you're starting sentences with but. Don't do it all the time because actually it gets tedious. But you can do that every now and again. If you read it aloud, you can tell if you stumble over a word, well, the word's just too long. Replace it with a simpler word. If you run out of breath, just cut the sentence in half and start a new sentence. It's things like that make so much difference to the way that the content actually looks on the page. And the reader immediately feels comfortable. They think, oh, well, this is going to be easy to read. You can use bullet points as well. Again, short bullet points, probably no more than 5. People don't read more than 5 for some reason, don't know why. They're really useful things. Again, they need to be short. If you start going over onto the second line, it's probably too long for a bullet point. But if you put bullet points on a page, people think, oh, it's going to be easy to read. And they know they're going to get a bit of breathing space.
Yeah.
Headings, obviously, subheadings throughout the page, so they can scan it because that's what we all do.
Yeah, I think that is those are all really good points, and I think because see a lot of people I speak to, as do you, really struggle to they say, oh, I can talk about my business all day, but I actually can't write anything about it.
No, it's really hard.
It's really hard. And from the lady who wrote, how many blogs did you write when you were trying to rewrite your own website?
Well, me. Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Physician Heal Thyself. I actually had to earlier this year. I had to rewrite my own website content because I had a new design. Oh my goodness. Honestly, it was. I just thought I'd become my client. I've actually become my client here. I can't. It's really difficult when you're inside a business to see its value from the outside. In other words, from a potential client's point of view. And in the course of doing that, I realised that that's the value that I offer. Of course, I thought, oh, yes, the writing ability, it kind of, well, I'm a copywriter, it goes without saying. All copywriters can write. But what we can really do is stand outside your business, look at it from a different perspective and go, do you know what? That's the wrong detail. You're focusing on that detail. And in fact, the most important thing for your client is that one. That's what's going to really speak to them, because we can't see it. I couldn't see it. I mean, I was thinking, and then I had that brain light bulb moment where I thought, oh, it's that, isn't it? That's the value. You don't have to write that yourself.
I think that's the thing. It's it can come to you when you least expect it. But one of the things I say to people, and I guess this goes back to the speaking aloud, is if you're struggling to, and we won't use a mission statement because you've told us to come now. If you're struggling to articulate what you do, and I suppose what the transformation for people is to record yourself speaking.
Yes.
Or to record somebody, maybe a client, talking about what you do and how you help, because that is really powerful.
Yes.
And the amount of times I get onto like Zoom calls with people, or we're having a conversation, and I think actually we should have recorded that.
Yeah.
Because you've just articulated what you do. And your passion, and it's all coming through in your voice. And see, that's what you help to draw people out with. But I do think that recording, if people are trying to write for themselves, can be really, really effective.
Yeah, I mean, just get people to ask you questions about what makes you tick with the business. Even better, get your client, get a favourite client to ask you questions, and actually ask them, what's the most valuable thing that my business has offered you? What's the biggest benefit of me? Because then you're not having to kind of work it out for yourself. Just ask your customers what it is that you offer them, because it probably isn't the thing you think you're offering them. Quite often it isn't.
I think that's a really interesting.
Yeah, you get really surprising answers sometimes.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. So I'm just looking at our notes. So one of the things I did was, you mentioned to me earlier in the week about the bucket method.
Oh, the bucket brigades.
Bucket brigade, that was it. Yeah.
Yes, this is another writing tip. Bucket brigades. I'll tell you what they are, and then I'll explain why they're called bucket brigades, because I only found that out recently. Bucket brigades are they're an old 1950s American copywriting tip. I think they had an honourable mention in Mad Men. If you've seen Mad Men,
Love it.
think that. They are one line, very short, one line paragraphs, so they appear completely on their own, and they are a method of drawing the reader irresistibly from one line to the next. They are things like, so here's the thing, colon, want to know the best part, question mark. Now I know what you're thinking, colon. And you can use them. There are lots of them. I won't go into them in detail here, but there are lots of them. You can just Google bucket brigades and somebody will have their own, or you can make up your own. They're called bucket brigades. Apparently, I found this out from the when you're putting out a fire and you form a human chain and you pass the bucket from one person to the next person to the next person. That's where it's a slightly weird sort of thing, but it draws the reader down, because you're constantly fighting this lack of attention. You have to keep them reading, and it's a really good way. You can use it on blogs. Actually, it's a really useful thing in a blog. It's very good on website content. But if you're going to write now, here's the thing, it has to be a really significant thing. It has to really matter to the reader. So don't overuse them, because they could be they're a really good thing to use. They're really fabulous. But if you overuse them, it can sound really tedious. So use them sparingly, but they are a really good tip. Bucket brigades. There you are, bucket brigade.
And I just wanted to, because I've been doing quite a bit of sort of reading around kind of copywriting and where you should start with your website. And I know writing website copy is your favourite thing. So as I mentioned, I live with a developer. I feel that quite often people that people feel that web design is their website.
Yeah, I know. It just amazes me. You get hundreds of eyeballs on your website every week, hundreds and hundreds a month. They're going to be, the design will put them off if it's a bit rubbish, but they want to read the words. And it's so often website designers, I know, just tear their hair out in despair that they've designed this beautiful website for somebody, and then the copy is like, oh yeah, I suppose I better get some copy done, and then they just throw it together at the last minute as a kind of secondary, and it's the thing that sells, that converts somebody. The design doesn't convert people. It does put people off if it's bad and it's difficult and it looks difficult to navigate, and those things are really important. But it's the copy that actually converts somebody casually tonking about on the internet, deciding who to contact. It converts them into the person that contacts you for a conversation. That's the purpose of your website. The purpose, it only has one purpose, which is to put people in touch with you. And what they should be thinking after reading your content is, that's interesting, tell me more. You can't put all the details on your website. That's not its job. You're providing the details that the reader needs in order to think, that's interesting, tell me more. And at that point, you can have a conversation with them and give them all the details you like. But you don't put everything on your website, because otherwise it becomes unreadable. And really, it does the opposite, because it puts people off, because they think, oh, I can't be bothered to read all that. It's about focusing on the things that really matter rather than the details that don't.
Yeah, and I think then maybe for people it's kind of about reframe, because actually you probably should start with your product, with your copy, even if that's you're just focused on your products and services.
Web designers always want the content before they design the thing, so they can design the site around the content.
Yeah, exactly.
It should never be something you do right at the end and think, oh, I better get the content done then, because it is the thing that's going to make you money in the end. It just makes you money, because it brings in business directly through your website, which design, unfortunately, kind of doesn't.
And there's a lot of competition out there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I've got so many notes. If anybody's got any questions for myself or for Helen, then do connect with us on here or drop us a DM. We both love to chat, so we're always quite happy to answer questions. And I will do a little bit of a follow-up with some key points probably next week. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching us, and thank you so much, Helen, for joining me.
It's been a pleasure.
Enjoy the sunshine, because I'm looking longingly out the window and it looks fabulous there.
I know, it's going to be lovely. It's already hot. I'm Brighton. It's already hot down here, and it's normally
yeah,
hot.
yeah. It's already hot here as well, but you tend to get a bit more of a breeze by the sea.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well,
Brilliant. Thank you so much. See you later. Bye.